Liquid, couple of cups. There's a little vial water measure here for the liquid, and there is a scoop here for the powder. And you should have a little Vaseline there to put on your hands. Okay, so you're gonna take your cast right here, and you're gonna go ahead and mark down about 5 millimeters. You can see here, doesn't have to be exact, but somewhere along there like that. Okay, and mark that all the way around across the palette. Okay, and then I had them this morning take a magic marker or something, make some nice dark dots on your cusp tips that you're going to put your stops. They're going to be the mesiofacial cusp of number 2, facial cusp of 5, facial cusp of 12, and mesiofacial cusp of 15. Okay, that's where we're going to put our rest stops. We don't want them on 3 or 4 because that's where we're going to have teeth that we're going to take an impression of with our custom tray. Okay, the first thing you want to do is take 2 pieces of base plate wax. You can put them together. Okay, and then I'm going to just flame them here a little bit right through there, and I'm going to cut a little bit off. Okay, and so I've warmed it up a little bit. I'm going to warm the knife here, and I'm going to cut off about around that much or so. This is what we'll need then to make our spacer for our custom tray. So now I'm going to take this and I'm going to warm it up here a little bit. I don't want to melt it. I just want to get it warm so I can mold it down around there. You can do it on your flame. You can probably do it with some hot water also. Okay, but I want to get it a little bit pliable like this so I can wrap it around my cast. Okay, so now that's pretty good. I'm going to put a little slit in it right here. Okay, so now I can open it up a little bit. I can place it over the cast here, and I'm going to fold it down. I don't want to use a whole lot of pressure on the wax because you don't want to thin it out. We want the full 2 thicknesses there, which is about 2 millimeters. Your base plate wax is about a millimeter thick, so we're using 2 pieces here. Now I want to trim it back to that line that we drew on there. Okay, so I'm going to warm up my buffalo knife. Okay, and that just helps you cut it a little easier. So I can come along here and I can trim this back to about where my pencil line is. Okay, so here I have my little wax spacer on here, cut back pretty close to my pencil line around there. Okay, we have that. Next thing I want to do is identify the stops I'm going to use here. So I want one on the mesiofacial cusp. I can see my little black mark showing through there. Number 2. And what I see a lot of times, you make these a little too small and you can't really get a very good stop there. So I'm going to go ahead and clear that out a little bit. Okay, so there you can see my first stop in there. Here's the second one. Okay, 2. And over here's my third one. find my last one back here. And there's 4. Now you can see about the size they should be there. Okay, good. So that's what it's going to look like. Now we're going to come with our piece of tin foil right here. This is a little different from aluminum foil. It has a little more body to it, a little easier to work with. And I'm going to take this, I'm going to make a little slit right in it also. Okay, and I'm going to place this over the wax right here and adapt it around to cover my wax spacer there that I've made. Okay, and I'll get it wrapped around there a little bit like that. Okay, so now I'm going to take my buffalo knife again, and I want to cut this foil back to even with my spacer. The foil layer is just to kind of help you separate this wax spacer out of your tray when you're finished. So now I want to find my stops right there. There they are. You can just kind of press down a little bit and you'll find your stops right there. Get a little piece out of there. Okay, so there's one of them. Here's another one. I just found a little area there that was depressed, and I can push that down and find my stop in there. Okay, so there's my second one. Over here, I've got 2 spaces right there, you can see. Third stop, and then the last one right here. Okay, so now I've got all my stops uncovered there. Now, I'm going to take the handle of your lap knife here. I'm just going to kind of burnish this over, and it just kind of smooths out the foil here. It makes it easier to get it out of the tray when you're finished, because you won't have a lot of little undercuts in there that are so sharp that they get caught in the tray and they're hard to get out. Okay, so I'll just smooth it up there a little bit. Okay, and that's it. Now comes the time I want to be sure to turn off my Bunsen burner. Because I'm going to open the liquid and the powder now. Okay, and you come, your deal comes with a little glass vial like this to measure your liquid. Okay, and your powder comes with a nice little scoop here. I'm going to suggest maybe you use at least 1.5 scoops and maybe even 2. Now make sure you have plenty of material. So I'm going to go ahead and measure out 2 scoops here. There's 1. And there's 2. Okay, so I can set that aside now. Now I need to pour the liquid, and this stuff's real hard to keep it from running everywhere. It's very little viscosity to it. So I'm gonna go ahead and use about 2.5 vials of this with my 2 scoops in there. So I'm gonna hold it over the cup that I want to use. I'll pour, there's 1 vial. You can see I've spilled a bunch of it. There's 2. And I'm gonna do another half, okay? Just because it takes a little extra there. Okay, so now I've got my liquid in there. I'm gonna put the top on this. Okay, so now now I'm going to take this little cement spatula here, and I'm going to sift the powder into the liquid. Always add powder to liquid, just like you do with your dental stone and other materials. And I'll put this in there, and now I'm going to stir it around a little bit till I get all of the powder wet with the liquid. Okay, you have to do that because you don't want a whole bunch of dry powder left in this thing. Okay, so I'm mixing up there very nicely. And it feels kind of sandy now. This is a sandy stage when you mix it. Okay, now what I'm going to do is set it aside here a little bit so that it can begin to set a little bit till it gets to the doughy stage. We'll show you the sticky stage and then the doughy stage. Okay, so we'll let that set a little bit there. And I'm going to now put just a little bit of Vaseline on my hands here. Got powder on it. So just a little bit here to kind of get your hands a little coated there. Okay, and we'll take a look at it here. I'll take my spatula here. You can see this is a stringy stage right there. You can see it running down in there, so it's not ready yet. So we're going to wait a little bit more. Now, once it gets to the doughy stage where you can pick it up and work with it, kind of get going, okay? Don't fiddle around too long because it'll set on you. And you'll know when it's setting because it's going to get really hot. You won't hardly be able to touch it. It'll be that hot. Okay, I have a feeling now we're going to still be at the stringy stage because it's got a little shine on it there. So we'll give it just a little more time. This is the stringy stage. It's getting close now to where we can go ahead and use it. Now when it's ready, it gets to the doughy stage. I'm going to take my big spatula here because I want to get a lot of it out of there. I don't want to leave a whole lot in here because I'm going to need some for a handle. I'm going to need some to cover into my stops there. Okay, so now it's looking kind of not quite so shiny. Okay, and you see it's not really pulling up there so much, so I'm going to take a big spatula here. I'm going to get all of it out of there I can. I've got a nice big wad. Okay, it's still just a little sticky in some spots there. Okay. But you can see I can touch it there and it's not sticking to me a whole lot. Okay, so now I've got this little wad right here. I'm going to pinch a little off here. I'm going to save for my handle. And I'm going to pinch off a little bit here that I can put into my stops. I'm going to add just a little bit in there. A little bit in there. And there. And there. Okay, so now I've got a nice wet towel down here. And I like it nice and wet so that I can actually roll this out on it. Okay, so I'm going to roll it into a little hot dog here, a little sausage. I'm going to lay it out here now. And that's about enough to wrap all the way around my deal there. So now I'm going to flatten it out a little bit. I want it to be about 2 to 3 millimeters thick, so I don't want to, flatten it out just a whole lot there. But nice like that, okay? It's pretty good. So now I'm going to take it and I'm going to start putting it around my model right here. And I've got plenty extra there. Okay, so 2 of it makes plenty of material. And now I'm going to start to push it down over till I cover my foil. Okay, now I'm not putting a lot of pressure on it because I don't want to thin it out. Okay, so we got a little extra back here. And I'll save that. Now I'm going to bring it down over the foil very closely. Okay, on all the way around. Okay, just get it down there. So I'm trying to keep it as thick as I can, the material there. Okay, so now I've got it like this. Okay, and I'm pretty close there. So now I can take my little knife here and I can trim off some of this back here. I don't need all that excess there, so I can get it off, smooth it up a little bit, and we're okay here. Mash it down there a little bit, and you can kind of smooth it. Okay, so now I'm going to make a handle here. I'll put this together here, and I don't have any liquid there, so I'm going to get a little bit more liquid. Okay, I'm going to put just a little bit in there. Okay. Now I'm going to put a little bit of this liquid right here on the front of that. Okay, and I'm going to shape a little handle here. And I'm going to put a little bit of liquid on that. Okay. And now I'm going to press it on here. Okay. And you should get a nice bond there. So I have a handle there. Doesn't have to be a big, huge handle. And I can kind of mold it in here a little bit. Okay, like that. And look over here, is it kind of in the middle? Okay, and I can shape it down here a little bit. So it gets a real nice contact there. Okay, now basically I'm at the spot now where this is kind of getting to the rubbery stage and it's starting to feel warm. Okay, so we'll set that aside, and then when it's done you can take your tray here and you can peel that material out, and we'll do that. And then you'll end up with a tray here. You got your 4 stops around there. Fairly nice thickness of tray, nice handle, it's pretty strong. Okay, and it would probably need a little smoothing out. It's got some rough spots right there that you can see. This is going to go in your patient's mouth, so when you run your finger along here, if you feel something that's rough and sharp, your patient's sure going to feel that, because they're not going to be numb all over, probably just the area where you're working over here on numbers 3 and 4. So there we have the tray ready to go. And in there, you'll find 2 of the burrs you're going to use to trim. One of them has this nice little red stripe on it, and it's fairly smooth. The other one is pretty coarse, and this is one that kind of looks like a little area like this. So you have these 2. So to do your gross reduction, you can use this coarse one, and to smooth it up, you can use the fine cord and the handpiece right here. And so the power cord plugs into the back of the unit. So right here, okay, is your power cord, and it'll only go in one way, so you can't get it wrong. Okay, and that goes in there. Okay, on the front of the unit now, you have your power switch and a little place to plug in here your Brasseler handpiece. So that has a little end like this, and you have to get the little dot right there so that you can push it in there like that. Okay? So then when you want to turn it on, you use the switch down here. So now this is on. Now on the top here you have 4 buttons. This one's going to turn the handpiece for you. This one over here we won't use because you don't have a foot in this one. It's a foot pedal, so we won't be using that one. Okay? And over here is one that says forward and reverse, and they each have a little light. Okay, when I push that, it goes down to reverse and back up to here. And your power switch is over here. And when you turn, you have a big knob right in the middle. If you can see in the window right here, okay, that is running up now. So I'd put it around 20, 21, 22 to do your cutting. Okay, so that's how you regulate that. Now a little button here, when you press that, it's going to turn your motor on. So let's show you how that works. You'll have a long stem burr like this. Okay. Now to open it, you're going to turn it clockwise, and so now it's open. Okay, so I can put my burr in there, and then to close it, I'm going to turn it counterclockwise till it clicks. So now it's held in there nicely, and when you're ready to cut, push the top button right here that says off on. Okay, and that starts the engine running. Okay. Now to use this, okay, get this thing in your fist. Don't try to hold it like a pencil, but get it in your fist like that. Now you're going to use what's called the palm thumb grip. So if I want to grind this little rough points right off of there, I'm going to do it like this. Okay, I can come along there and trim that off. Don't do what I'm doing just sitting here. I don't have my glasses on. You need eyewear when you're using this thing, okay? So I just took a big chance right there, just so I could get an eye put out, and that will teach you all a lesson. Okay, so this is where you're going to use that. Use the coarse one first, but don't sit there and try to do it like this. Okay, that won't accomplish anything. You want to get a good thumb grip and then work on it like that. And then when you want to stop it running, just press the button right there.